We've just come back from a holiday down in Tasmania, and between the 12th and the 23rd of March 2019, and we flew straight down to Hobart and stayed at Eagle Hawk Neck, and we did, well, we spent time around Hobart, and during that time we went on an amazing cruise, a Pentecost cruise down the coast of the Tasman Peninsula. And then we travelled, this is the route that we travelled across to Queenstown via Lake St Clair, and we did another cruise along in Macquarie Harbour and up the Gordon River, and we travelled up to Corinna, and in Corinna we did another cruise along the Pieman River, and from Corinna we travelled up to the north coast and along the north coast from Burnie down to Launceston and spent a day there, and then we travelled back to Hobart via Richmond and took the plane away. After that we drove, after seeing Macquarie Harbour, we drove not far up the coast but on a fairly twisty road to a little place on the Pieman River called Corinna, where we had to use the ferry to get across the Pieman River, and the ferry closes at a certain time in the evening, so it was a bit of a rush to get there, and it cost $28 to get across. And so at Corinna we stayed in the motel, I guess, or hotel, in a very like heritage recreation cottages, very comfortable actually, and a wonderful restaurant there. From Corinna we took the cruise along the Pieman River right out to the mouth where there's a little settlement of fishermen and so on, and went for a walk on the beach and had a lunch, and then went back to Corinna. Towards Corinna now, and we're crossing the Pieman River Ferry. Very noisy because I'm standing right next to the engine. So we're going across there, and the sun of course is on my left, so the ladies are paying, I'll just go over here. Well, and that's going to be the ferry we go on tomorrow, I'd imagine. So Pieman River Ferry. Once again, very pretty vegetation right down to the river's edge, and the ferry's going to dock over there. The next person waiting. This little, looks like the ferry boat we're going on tomorrow, called the Arcadia. So we're just close to Corinna here, spending the night here. Today is Wednesday, and I'm standing on the balcony of our little shack, I suppose you call it, on the Pieman River in Corel in Western Tasmania. And what's pretty is along the banks of the river there, you can see the hill with the mist on it. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm down at the little wharf here on the Pieman River near Corinna in Tasmania. This is the boat we're about to go on, but you can see the river's beautifully calm this morning. It's overcast, but it's going to be pleasant, I think, if it stays overcast, because it won't be too hot. And the engine you can hear there is a very noisy engine of the ferry that runs across the river, and it's the ferry we came in on, and you can see it just pulling out from behind the plants, so I'll give you a look at it. It's a very small ferry, nothing like the South Australian ones. It can only take, well, it can actually take a vehicle with its caravan, and these are some of the bikers, lots of bikers around here, and these are guys obviously going on their trip around in the wilderness on their motorbikes, and they're on their way across the river. So this gives you an idea of the size of the ferry. It's quite a little thing. but it works on the same principle. It hauls itself along cables which are along the river bottom. And it will go across to the other side, which is probably 75 meters. It costs $28. So we're on board the MV Arcadia, heading down the Pieman River.
Well, welcome once more to the Arcadia II.
Arcadia II.
And we're on the Pieman River. Now the river, everybody likes to know this, the river is 15 metres deep. It varies a little bit.
There are the happy travellers on the Pieman River pointing. Very nice, there we go. So we're down the Pieman River on a cruise out of Corinna. It's the banks of the Pieman River with the temperate forest coming right down to it. Not so many big trees there, but as I said, probably quite steep-sided. You know, look in there. Into the forest. Somebody bumped me, which is lovely. Very kind of them. You know, it would be nice to have this as like just footage, you know, like that slow train. One of the loveliest things about going along this river is the bends, because you can sort of, it's just more scenic, I guess. Right.
Down here you get 1 metre of rain per annum, so we're getting into a lower rainfall area as we proceed, and as such the forest type is changing, so you can still see a little bit of that famous and much loved rainforest on the right hand side, but we're starting to get quite a bit of eucalypt in amongst it. Direct dead ahead on the right hand side you can see pure eucalypt, and of course it's been pure eucalypt on the left hand side nearly all the way. So in about another 5 minutes time we'll have eucalypt both sides, and that will be the case all the way down to the coast.
The mouth of the Pieman River, having come down on the riverboat, the old riverboat, and as Bev was saying, with all of these logs and wood lying on the surface here, for us reminiscent of the Transkei in South Africa, where the beaches are literally uninhabited. Well, they were very remote beaches, and you get lots of driftwood just accumulating on the beach. And this is the mouth of the river with eucalyptus forest on the other side. Very nice. And then back there, I suppose I'll go all the way around, you can see there's a small settlement here of, it looks like shacks mostly, fishermen shacks and the like. It's very remote. So this is the mouth of the Pieman River. Going out there, a little bit of a rocky entrance to the mouth. But if you turn around behind me, well, we've got our boat people all sitting on logs having the packed lunch given to us by the cruise, and each group got a thing. And look at all the logs and things that have been washed up in the river mouth. They'll probably come down the river and then got washed up onto the beach. Quite amazing. This just gives you an idea of all this wood that's been washed down and weathered and pushed back up by the sea at the mouth of the Pieman River. And then looking to the left, up river there, and our cruise boat is parked. You can just see it peeping around the corner there. And there's a little settlement at the mouth of the Pieman River. Most of the group's gone down to the beach and they're sitting on logs looking at the sea, but Bev and I have stopped, and this is sort of in the river mouth but a little bit upstream, and you can see the small settlement in the distance there. Very remote spot on Tasmania's west coast. Like a four-wheel adventure group. There's no road to this particular estuary, so they've driven along the beach from Grenville Harbour apparently, and then they'll presumably go back. I don't know where they go from here. And there's there's Carmen walking towards us, and then these are our people here. This is a group that came with us on the boat, and then the sweet past Beverly here. And then there's, because you know a lot of these little shacks are painted green, you know. So this is the Pieman River mouth. Some very interesting, very big gum trees in this forest. And as I said earlier, you know, as you go closer to the coast, which is now on the right, more eucalypts. As you go further inland, the eucalypts drop out and you get all the myrtles and notophagous things. Kind of mesmerizing as you go along. Downstairs, or down below deck, in the Arcadia II little barge that we've gone along the coast of the Pieman River, there's the little galley kitchen, and next to it there's the toilet, and then they've got these low windows here. Presumably this would have been a hold for this vessel prior to this. And then you've got this leather seats all the way around the edge. It's very comfortable. There's nobody down there, everybody's up on deck, but it'd be pretty comfortable down here. Apparently when the hikers come back and they're all wet and cold, they all come down here and get warm and sleep. It's rather cozy below decks. Some shots of the reflection. Isn't that amazing?
Another female back in there.
I'm sitting on my own below decks in the Arcadia II, having a cup of tea, and I can just see up through the entrance to the gangway the scenery moving by along the edge of the Pieman River. Gone for a walk from Corinna, and it's Wednesday evening, and the date is the 20th of March, and we're at the, how can I say, the confluence of the Pieman River out on the right, and this is the White River, it's W-H-I-T-E River, and we've taken a walk along the banks of the Pieman River, and now you're going to see some of my co-walkers, fortunately, and the no, don't see the other one there. And the walk is amazing because you walk on a path along the bank of the river, and then you see forest giants like this thing behind us here, which towers up out of the canopy. Probably can't see the top of it. And I think that is actually a, whatever they call it. It's a blackwood, and I thought it might have been a Huon pine actually. Enough though with my botanicals. But if you look into the forest there, you can see understory and mosses and old man's beard and lots of litter, you know, just amazing. Right on the banks of the river spelt W-H-Y-T-E, river, which is rather beautiful. It's a smaller river, but right on the banks. Clap your eyes on this. This is a notophagus, commonly known as a myrtle, a Gondwanan remnant. Going up and up and up and up and up. Isn't that amazing? Oh wow. How's this for old man's beard? Dong, dance. Beautiful. And then to there. Go to there. So deeply into the forest.
The proliferation of seals. You lost a massive amount of points.
These are the superb wrens hopping around. This is a sort of, it's a male, but he's eclipsed. He's got a little bit of blue on him. They run around on the lawn and they sort of glean bits and pieces. Here's another one. This is probably a female or a juvenile. And they're so cute because they sort of hop and then look and peck. And they're like little sheep. They follow one another. We're actually, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning at Corinna. And this is the last morning. Boohoo. We're splitting up here. And now our two Tasmanian hosts, having just finished their breakfast. And Carmen's hair looks amazing for this time of the morning. The girls are stressing about their hair because there's no hairdryer here. So, and the guy's going, "What's wrong with you? You look fine," you know. Typical men. You look fine. What do you... Anyways, goodbye to a beautiful spot, looking over at the river bank over there with all of its emergence. Last view of Corinna.